Hello, my friends, listen. Not everyone who stands beside you is standing with you. Some people stay close because they respect you, while others stay close because proximity gives them access to your plans, your weaknesses, your doubts, and the parts of you that you do not show everyone. A friendly voice can hide competition. Support can disappear the moment you begin to rise. Loyalty can look strong when life is easy and collapse the moment pressure enters the room. I am not telling you to become suspicious of everyone or close your heart completely. I am telling you to stop handing trust to people simply because they have been around for a long time, because the hardest lesson is not discovering that an enemy dislikes you, it is discovering that someone you called a friend was never standing where you thought they were. And there are signs most people ignore until it is too late. Notice who only appears when you are useful. You must learn to observe the difference between a person who values you and a person who values what you can provide. These two people may look the same when life is going well because both can smile, call, praise you, and stay close. The difference becomes visible when your usefulness disappears. Watch what happens when you no longer have something to give. When you cannot solve their problem, lend your time, offer your connections, provide emotional support, or make their life easier. Do they still treat you with the same respect? Do they still ask how you are doing when they need nothing from you? Do they still make an effort when there is no immediate benefit waiting for them? This is where many people become disappointed because they confuse frequent contact with genuine care. Someone can speak to you every day and still be connected mainly to what you provide. They may enjoy your advice, your resources, your encouragement, your availability, or your ability to help them through difficult moments. There is nothing wrong with helping people, but you must understand whether the relationship can survive without constant service from you. A healthy friendship has balance. Sometimes you give more because the other person is going through difficulty. Sometimes they give more when you are struggling. The relationship does not become a transaction because neither person is keeping score every minute. But when one person only appears when they need something, the pattern becomes different. They disappear when your life becomes difficult. They become distant when you stop providing. They rarely ask about your needs unless those needs affect what you can do for them. You begin to notice that the friendship becomes warm whenever they want access and cold when they do not. Do not become angry immediately. Study the pattern first. A fighter does not react to one movement and assume he understands the whole opponent. He watches repetition. He studies timing. He looks for what happens again and again. You should do the same with people. One missed call does not prove disloyalty. One selfish moment does not define an entire person. Everyone has periods of stress, distraction, and personal difficulty. What matters is repetition. Does the person consistently return only when they need help? Do they become unusually friendly before asking for something? Do they vanish after receiving what they wanted? If the answer is yes again and again, then you are not looking at coincidence anymore. You are looking at character. This is why you must stop measuring friendship only by how long someone has known you. Time does not automatically create loyalty. A person can know you for years and still relate to you mainly through convenience. Your responsibility is not to become suspicious of everyone. Your responsibility is to become observant enough that generosity does not become blindness. Continue to be kind, but do not make yourself permanently available to people who only remember you when your usefulness becomes necessary. Let them show whether they can remain when you have nothing to offer, because the person who values only your usefulness will eventually become uncomfortable when you stop providing it, while the person who values you will still recognize your worth even when your hands are empty. Watch what happens when you say no. You can learn a great deal about a person by watching what happens when you stop giving them what they want. As long as you agree, help, cooperate, stay available, and make things easy for them, the relationship may feel peaceful. The real test begins when you say no. A simple refusal can reveal what friendliness was hiding. If someone respects you, they may feel disappointed, but they will still respect your decision. They understand that you have limits, responsibilities, and priorities of your own. They may ask for clarity, but they do not punish you for protecting yourself. An entitled person reacts differently. They may become cold, distant, sarcastic, or suddenly offended. They may try to make you feel guilty. They may remind you of everything they have done for you, as if kindness was a contract. They may question your loyalty simply because you refused one request. Pay attention to that reaction. The problem is not always the request itself. The reaction tells you whether the person sees you as an equal or as someone who is supposed to stay available. This is why saying no is important. It is not only a boundary, it is information. When you always say yes, people never need to reveal how they respond to limits. They only experience the version of you that serves them. The moment you stop, the real structure of the relationship becomes easier to see. Do not say no just to test people. That would turn relationships into games. Say no when you genuinely need to protect your time, energy, values, or responsibilities, and then observe what follows. If the relationship changes immediately because you made one reasonable choice for yourself, you should not ignore that. A strong person does not become available out of fear. He does not say yes simply because he is afraid someone will leave, become angry, or think badly of him. When your decisions are controlled by fear of another person's reaction, your boundaries no longer belong to you. You begin betraying yourself to preserve the relationship. That is too high a price. Think like a disciplined fighter. If an opponent discovers that one movement always forces the same reaction, that reaction becomes predictable. People can do the same emotionally. If guilt always makes you surrender, guilt becomes a tool. If anger always makes you change your mind, anger becomes pressure. If silence always makes you chase, silence becomes control. You must know your own patterns before someone else learns how to use them. When you say no, say it clearly. You do not need a long speech every time. You do not need to create 10 excuses to make your boundary acceptable. Respectful people do not require you to prove that your limits are valid. And if someone repeatedly treats your boundaries as an insult, ask yourself what kind of friendship depends on your inability to refuse. Real loyalty can survive disagreement. Real respect can survive disappointment. Real friendship does not collapse every time you choose yourself. So watch carefully when you say no. The reaction may tell you more than years of easy agreement ever could. Do not ignore the small signs of disrespect. Disrespect rarely begins with one dramatic betrayal. More often it enters quietly, in small moments that seem easy to excuse. A joke goes too far. A promise is broken without concern. Your opinion is dismissed in front of others. Or something personal you shared in confidence is repeated carelessly. Because each moment appears small, you tell yourself not to make a problem out of it. You stay silent, you let it pass, and you hope the person will understand the boundary without being told. But repeated small disrespect is not small anymore. You must learn to observe patterns before they grow into something harder to control. One careless comment may be a mistake. One bad day may make someone impatient. But when the same kind of behavior returns again and again, especially after you have shown that it affects you, you are no longer looking at an accident. You are looking at how much respect the person is willing to give you. Do not confuse patience with permission. If someone constantly interrupts you, mocks your weaknesses, speaks to you differently in front of others, or treats your time as less important than theirs, pay attention. These actions reveal the position they have given you in their mind. People usually protect what they truly respect. When someone repeatedly crosses the same line, it often means they believe there will be no real consequence for crossing it. This is where your response matters. You do not need to become aggressive. You do not need to create a dramatic confrontation. A calm, clear response is often stronger because it shows that you are not reacting from wounded pride. You are simply defining what you will and will not accept. Say what needs to be said, and then watch what happens. A respectful person may not agree with everything, but they will usually adjust when they understand the boundary. A disrespectful person may laugh at it, minimize it, call you too sensitive, or try to make you feel guilty for speaking up. That reaction gives you more information than the original behavior. Think of a small crack in a foundation. At first it may not look dangerous, but if water keeps entering the same place, the damage spreads. Relationships work the same way. Small disrespect that is ignored teaches the other person what they can continue doing. You must also be honest about your own behavior. Do not demand respect while giving none. If you speak carelessly, break trust, or humiliate people, and then expect perfect treatment in return, you are creating the same problem from the other side. Respect must move in both directions. Still, do not stay loyal to a relationship that requires you to repeatedly abandon your dignity just to keep the peace. Peace that depends on your silence is not real peace, it is avoidance. You do not need to cut people off over every mistake, but you do need to stop pretending repeated disrespect means nothing. Notice it early, address it clearly, then judge the person by what they do next. Because people reveal their character not only through how they treat you when everything is easy, but through how seriously they take the boundaries that protect your dignity. Be careful with people who compete in silence. Not every person who competes with you will admit that they are competing. Some people will smile, support you, ask questions about your plans, and appear happy when you make progress. Yet beneath that friendly surface they are measuring themselves against you. Their problem is not always that they want what you have. Sometimes the real problem is that your growth forces them to look at where they have stopped growing. This is why silent competition is difficult to recognize. Open competition is clear. You know where you stand. Hidden competition is different because it often wears the face of friendship. The person stays close, but their energy changes when you improve. They become quieter when you succeed, more interested when you fail, and strangely uncomfortable when other people praise you. Do not rush to accuse anyone. Observe first. One strange reaction means very little. Everyone has difficult days, private struggles, and moments when they are not able to celebrate someone else properly. What matters is the pattern. Does the person repeatedly reduce your achievements? Do they immediately compare your success with someone else's? Do they turn your good news into a joke? Do they suddenly become distant when you begin doing better? These are the moments you should study. A person who truly respects you does not need your light to become smaller so they can feel brighter. They may have their own insecurities, but they do not constantly turn your progress into a threat. They can be inspired by your growth without needing to compete with it. Silent competition often reveals itself through small behavior. You share something you are proud of, and instead of acknowledging it, they quickly tell you about something greater that they did. You mention an opportunity, and they immediately explain why it may not work. You improve your appearance, your discipline, your finances, or your confidence, and suddenly they begin making jokes about how much you have changed. Each moment may appear harmless alone. Together they can reveal a deeper attitude. Be careful with people who only seem comfortable when you are struggling beside them. Some friendships are built around shared frustration. Two people complain together, waste time together, avoid responsibility together, and call that closeness. The relationship feels strong because both people are standing in the same place. But when one person decides to change, the balance is disturbed. Now your discipline becomes a mirror. Your progress reminds them of what they are avoiding. Your new standards make their old habits more visible. Rising with you, they may begin pulling you backward because your old version was easier for them to accept. This does not always happen consciously. Envy can be subtle, even inside the person feeling it. They may not wake up thinking, "I want my friend to fail." They may simply feel uncomfortable whenever you move ahead, and that discomfort begins shaping how they treat you. This is why you should judge behavior more than claims. Someone may tell you they support you, but do they encourage your growth when it requires change? Do they respect your new priorities? Do they become happy when you succeed without immediately finding a reason to reduce the achievement? Words can hide competition. Patterns expose it. Think like a fighter studying an opponent's rhythm. You do not react to one movement. You watch what repeats. You notice where tension appears, where timing changes, and what creates a reaction. Your relationships deserve the same awareness. When someone repeatedly becomes uncomfortable around your progress, do not ignore it simply because you have known them for years. History is not proof of loyalty. Familiarity is not proof of good intention. You can appreciate the past without allowing the past to blind you to the present. At the same time, do not become paranoid. If you begin treating every disagreement as jealousy and every criticism as secret competition, You will become difficult to correct. Sometimes a real friend will challenge you because you are making a mistake. Sometimes they will disagree because they see something you do not. That is not betrayal. Learn to separate honest criticism from disguised resentment. Honest criticism usually has substance. It points to something specific, and it often comes with concern or a possible solution. Hidden competition often feels different. It is less interested in helping you improve, and more interested in reducing your confidence. One tries to sharpen you, the other tries to shrink you. You must be able to tell the difference. Also examine yourself. Are you secretly competing with the people around you? Does another person's success make you feel smaller? Do you struggle to praise a friend because their progress touches your insecurity? If so, do not hide from that truth. Correct it. A strong person does not need to be the strongest person in every room. You should be able to stand beside someone talented without feeling threatened. You should be able to watch a friend succeed without turning their victory into evidence of your failure. Their path is not stealing yours, and your path should not become a weapon against theirs. Healthy friendship allows both people to grow without turning growth into a contest. But when you recognize that someone is repeatedly competing with you in silence, you must become more selective with what you share. You do not need to announce every plan before it happens. You do not need to show every opportunity while it is still developing. Protect important goals until they are strong enough to stand on their own. Privacy is not fear. It is discipline. Not everyone deserves access to unfinished work. When a plan is still fragile, too many opinions can weaken your confidence before reality has even tested the idea. Share your direction with people who can offer useful guidance, not people who constantly search for reasons you should stop. You should also avoid competing back. If someone becomes jealous, do not make your success louder just to hurt them. Do not turn your progress into revenge. The moment you begin living to prove yourself to them, they have already gained influence over your direction. Continue growing because growth matters to you. Let your results remain clean. The strongest answer to hidden competition is not another competition. It is refusing to enter the game. If someone constantly needs to compare, let them compare. You keep moving. If they need to diminish your progress, let them speak. You keep building. If your growth creates distance, do not immediately rush to repair the distance by becoming smaller again. Some distance is information. It shows you which relationships were connected to your character and which were connected only to your position. A real friend does not require you to fail so they can feel secure. They may challenge you, disagree with you, or even outperform you, but their success does not depend on your weakness. That is the difference. So remain observant without becoming bitter. Celebrate people who grow. Learn from people who are ahead of you. Encourage those who are trying. And when you notice silent competition hiding inside friendship, do not create unnecessary drama. Simply adjust your access. Protect your plans. Protect your energy. And keep becoming stronger. Because the people who truly belong beside you will not fear your growth. They will have enough strength to grow too. Do not tell everyone everything. You must understand that privacy is not secrecy, and silence is not fear. There are things in your life that do not need an audience while they are still growing. Your plans, your doubts, your next move, your weaknesses, and even some of your victories become safer when they are not placed in the hands of people who have not earned that level of access. Many people reveal too much because they want to feel close quickly. They tell others what they are building before the foundation is strong. They explain every idea before it has been tested, and they expose personal struggles to people who may listen with curiosity, but not with care. At the moment, this can feel like a connection. Later, it can become regret. You must learn the difference between openness and carelessness. Not everyone who asks a question deserves a full answer. Not everyone who shows interest deserves your private thoughts. Some people are genuinely concerned. Some are simply curious, and some collect information because knowing more makes them feel powerful. Your job is not to become suspicious of everyone. Your job is to become wise enough to understand that access should be earned. Think about a fighter who reveals every strategy before the match begins. He tells everyone where he is strong, where he is weak, what he plans to do, and what he fears may happen. Then he wonders why the opponent is prepared for him. In life, information has value. The more personal the information, the more carefully it should be handled. This is especially true when your plans are still fragile. An idea in its early stage is easy to discourage. One careless opinion can make you question something you have not even had time to test. Someone may laugh at your goal, compare it to something impossible, or remind you of every reason it may fail. Now, instead of working, you spend energy defending an idea that did not need defending in the first place. Sometimes the strongest move is to work quietly until the result becomes strong enough to speak for itself. This does not mean you should never ask for advice. Good guidance can save you time and prevent mistakes, but choose carefully who receives the unfinished version of your life. Speak to people who have judgment, experience, and respect for what you share. Do not confuse having many opinions with having good counsel. The same rule applies to your weaknesses. There is courage in admitting where you struggle, but courage does not require public exposure. Some people can hold your vulnerability with respect. Others may use it later in an argument, turn it into gossip, or quietly change the way they see you. Pay attention to character before you hand someone sensitive information. Ask yourself whether this person has protected the trust of others. Do they repeat private stories? Do they enjoy discussing details that were clearly not meant for them? Do they make jokes about things people told them seriously? A person who cannot protect another person's confidence is giving you a warning. Believe the warning. You must also stop feeling guilty for keeping some parts of your life private. You are not required to explain every decision, every relationship, every fear, or every next move. Privacy gives your mind room to think without constant outside interference. When too many people know your plans, you begin carrying their reactions along with your own thoughts. One person is excited, another is doubtful, another is jealous, another is giving advice you did not ask for. Suddenly, a decision that once felt clear becomes crowded. Too much access can create too much noise. Protect your clarity. You should also be careful with good news. People often think privacy is only for problems, but success also deserves protection. Not every achievement needs immediate announcement. Not every opportunity needs to be shared before it is secure. Sometimes success attracts support, and sometimes it attracts comparison, pressure, or unwanted attention. Let some things become stable before you expose them. There is a deep kind of confidence in being able to enjoy progress without needing everyone to know about it. If every victory must be witnessed, then part of your satisfaction still depends on the audience. But when you can build quietly, improve quietly, and celebrate privately, your motivation becomes cleaner. You begin working because the work matters, not because the reaction matters. This is strength. Still, do not turn privacy into emotional distance. There is a difference between being selective and being closed. You need people you can trust. You need honest conversation. You need relationships where you can be known fully without feeling exposed. The goal is not to tell no one anything. The goal is to stop telling everyone everything. Trust should have levels. Some people earn access to your time. Fewer earn access to your plans. Even fewer earn access to your fears, your unfinished thoughts, and the parts of your life that could be used against you if handled carelessly. Let access grow with evidence. Do not give someone deep trust simply because they are friendly, because you have known them for a long time, or because they know how to ask personal questions. Watch how they handle what you have already shared. Do they respect it? Do they protect it? Do they use it with care? If the answer is yes, trust can grow. If the answer is no, adjust. You do not need drama. You do not need an argument. You simply stop giving the same level of access. That is maturity. The strongest person is not the one who tells everyone nothing. The strongest person is the one who knows what should be shared, what should be protected, and who has actually earned the right to know the difference. Study who protects your name when you are absent. You learn a great deal about a person when you are no longer in the room. Anyone can treat you well when you are standing in front of them, because your presence creates consequences. The deeper test of loyalty appears when you cannot hear the conversation, when your reputation depends entirely on the character of the people speaking about you. Pay attention to this carefully. A real friend does not need to praise you constantly, but they should not become comfortable while other people disrespect you. If someone begins spreading false stories, mocking your weaknesses, or questioning your character unfairly, the person who calls himself your friend should not simply laugh, remain silent, or add another joke because you are not there to defend yourself. This does not mean your friends must fight every person who criticizes you. Mature loyalty is not blind aggression. Sometimes criticism is fair, and a true friend may even agree that you made a mistake, but there is a difference between honest criticism and unnecessary humiliation. A loyal person understands that difference. They can say, yes, he was wrong, without allowing the conversation to become cruel. They can correct misinformation without creating drama. They can refuse to reveal something private simply because other people are curious. That kind of protection matters. Your name is something you carry into rooms before you enter them. People form opinions from stories, conversations, and impressions long before they meet you. You cannot control every word spoken about you, but the people closest to you should not be helping careless people damage what you have spent years building. This is why you must study how your friends speak about others. If someone constantly exposes the secrets of people they claim to love, listen carefully. If they enjoy humiliating absent friends, telling private stories for entertainment, or turning another person's weakness into gossip, do not convince yourself that you are somehow protected from the same behavior. The character usually travels. The person who betrays 10 other people in front of you may eventually betray you in front of someone else. Do not ignore that pattern simply because they are currently friendly toward you. A martial artist studies behavior before trusting an opening. He does not simply see what he wants to see. He observes rhythm, repetition, and intention. You should bring that same awareness into friendship. Look beyond the words "you can trust me." Ask what their behavior has already proven. Do they keep confidence even after relationships become difficult? Do they remain fair when they are angry with someone? Can they disagree without trying to destroy another person's reputation? These questions reveal maturity. Anyone can protect your name while they like you. The stronger test is whether they still protect basic truth and dignity when they are disappointed in you. This is important because some people treat friendship like a temporary alliance. When everything is good, they know your secrets, your fears, your history, and your mistakes. But the moment conflict appears, all of that information becomes ammunition. That is not friendship. That is access without character. You should never need to fear that one disagreement will turn every private conversation into public information. If someone uses what you trusted them with the moment they become angry, they have shown you that their loyalty was conditional. Watch that carefully. You must hold yourself to the same standard. Do not demand protection for your name while damaging the names of others. If someone trusts you with a weakness, do not turn it into entertainment. If a friend makes a mistake, do not exaggerate it when they are absent. If you need to address a serious problem, speak directly to the person when possible, instead of building an audience around their failure. Your own loyalty must be clean before you judge someone else's. This does not mean covering up harmful behavior or pretending wrongdoing does not exist. Loyalty is not dishonesty. If someone is hurting others, acting dangerously, or behaving in ways that must be addressed, truth matters more than protecting appearances. But even truth can be handled with dignity. There is no need to enjoy another person's fall. There is no strength in destroying someone simply because you possess information that could hurt them. Strong character knows when to speak, how much to say, and why the words are necessary. This is why reputation should not be confused with image. Image is what people want others to believe. Reputation is built from repeated behavior over time. A good friend does not protect a false image for you, but they also do not help others create a false reputation against you. That balance is rare. When you find someone who can defend your name without becoming dishonest, appreciate that person. When you find someone who can correct you privately but refuse to humiliate you publicly, appreciate that person. When you find someone who does not become more entertaining when your back is turned, appreciate that person. These people are valuable because they understand loyalty without losing judgment. And if you discover that someone repeatedly fails this test, do not necessarily create a dramatic ending. Sometimes the correct response is simply to change the level of access you give them. You share less, You trust more slowly. You stop assuming that history guarantees safety. Then you watch. A relationship should not require paranoia. You should not constantly wonder what someone is saying about you the moment you leave. If a friendship repeatedly creates that kind of anxiety, something important is missing. Trust should create stability, not constant suspicion. So study the people around you, but study them calmly. Do not become obsessed with finding betrayal. Look for evidence of character instead. Who remains fair when you are absent? Who refuses to trade your secrets for attention? Who corrects false stories without making a show of it? Who can criticize your actions while still respecting your dignity? Those are the people who understand something many others do not. Friendship is not only how you treat someone face to face, it is also how you carry their name when they are no longer there to protect it themselves. Learn the difference between company and brotherhood. You must learn this before life teaches it to you through disappointment. Being surrounded by people is not the same as being supported by people. Company is easy to find because many people enjoy laughter, entertainment, convenience, and shared moments. But brotherhood is different because it is tested when the situation becomes difficult, uncomfortable, or inconvenient. Anyone can stand beside you when there is something enjoyable to gain. Anyone can call you a friend when the relationship asks very little from them. The deeper question is what happens when loyalty costs something? What happens when telling you the truth is harder than flattering you? What happens when supporting you requires effort, patience, or sacrifice? What happens when you are no longer entertaining, successful, useful, or easy to be around? That is where company and brotherhood separate. The company enjoys your presence, but the brotherhood respects your character. Company may disappear when the environment changes, while brotherhood remains connected to something deeper than the moment. A true brother does not need to agree with every decision you make, because real loyalty is not blind agreement. Sometimes the person who respects you most will be the one willing to tell you something you do not want to hear. You should value that. A person who constantly tells you what makes you comfortable may be protecting the relationship more than they are protecting you. A true friend can risk temporary tension if honesty might save you from a larger mistake later. This does not mean genuine friendship must always be serious. You should laugh together, enjoy life, and create good memories. But those things alone cannot prove loyalty. Entertainment can create closeness very quickly without creating character underneath it. Ask yourself who you can trust when life becomes quiet. Who can sit beside you when there is nothing exciting happening? Who remains when you have no victory to celebrate? Who can respect your growth even when your path begins moving in a different direction? These questions tell you more than the number of people around you ever will. Many people fear having a small circle because they confuse numbers with security. They believe that having many contacts means they will never stand alone. But a crowded room can still contain very little loyalty. You can know hundreds of people and still have nobody you can call when your life truly begins to fall apart. Do not measure friendship by quantity. Measure it by quality. One person with strong character can be more valuable than 20 people who disappear when conditions change. A small circle built on honesty, mutual respect, and consistency has more strength than a large circle built on convenience. You must also understand that brotherhood requires responsibility from you. Do not search for loyal people while refusing to become loyal yourself. If you want friends who tell the truth, become someone who can hear the truth without immediately becoming defensive. If you want people who respect your confidence, protect theirs. If you expect someone to stand beside you during difficulty, do not disappear the moment their life becomes inconvenient. The standard must move in both directions. This is where many relationships fail. People want loyalty as something they receive, but they do not train themselves to give it. They want understanding but refuse to listen. They want support but become jealous when another person succeeds. They want forgiveness but remember every mistake made against them. Brotherhood cannot survive that imbalance. Think of two martial artists training together. Each one becomes stronger because the other provides resistance, honesty, and discipline. A good training partner does not allow you to believe your technique is perfect when your defense is open. He challenges you because improvement matters more than your temporary comfort. A real friend should have some of that quality. They should not constantly attack you, but they should help you become more aware. They should not control your choices, but they should care enough to warn you when they see danger. They should not compete with your progress, but they should encourage you to become stronger than the version of yourself they first met. This is why brotherhood requires maturity. It allows both people to grow without demanding that either remain unchanged. Some friendships survive only because both people keep repeating the same habits. When one person becomes more disciplined, more focused, or more ambitious, the relationship begins to weaken because it was built around a shared lifestyle instead of shared respect. If growth destroys the friendship, ask what the friendship was truly built on. Real brotherhood can adjust. It does not require you to stay weak so the relationship can remain comfortable. You should also recognize that not every good person needs to become a close friend. Some people belong in your life as acquaintances, colleagues, training partners, neighbors, or people you simply respect. There is nothing wrong with this. The mistake is giving everyone the same level of trust. Not every relationship needs deep access. This is where wisdom matters. Enjoy company for what it is, without demanding that every friendly person become family. Appreciate good conversations without immediately handing over your private life. Let trust grow through experience. Time reveals people. Difficulty reveals people. Success reveals people. Conflict reveals people. Distance reveals people. Do not rush these tests. And when someone proves themselves through years of consistency, do not take that loyalty for granted. People of strong character are rare because loyalty requires discipline. It asks someone to remain fair when emotion would make unfairness easier. It asks them to protect confidence when gossip would bring attention. It asks them to celebrate your progress without turning your growth into competition. That kind of person deserves respect. The final lesson is not that nobody can be trusted. It is that trust should become more intelligent. Do not become bitter because false friends exist. Become more observant. Do not close your heart. Strengthen your judgment. Do not isolate yourself simply because some people disappointed you. Learn to recognize the difference between people who enjoy standing near you and people who are prepared to stand with you. The company may fill the room. Brotherhood strengthens your life, and once you understand the difference, you stop trying to keep everyone close and start appreciating the few people whose character has actually earned a place beside you. In the end, do not become bitter because some people disappointed you. Become wiser. Watch patterns more than promises. Protect what is private, and never confuse constant company with real loyalty. The right people will not need your weakness to feel strong, your silence to take advantage, or your trust to use against you. Keep your circle smaller if you must, but keep your standards high. Learn to stand alone without fear, because once loneliness no longer controls you, false friendship loses its power. Respect everyone, trust slowly, observe carefully, and let character decide who earns a place beside you.